This an all-out blitz, real hard hits, them other podcast trash, we gon' make them all quit. We cover all the topics with intelligence and logic. I know you wanna score, but ID gon' stop it. We from Texas, so that mean that we Texans. Breaking down the X's and O's, our profession. No complaining, just training, you see the progression. They had a Pro Bowl for talk shows, we get selected. We gon' celebrate every win like a birthday. Ray J with the news, first with all the updates. Spin move on the competition. Yeah, we juking them. You not really in touch if you not tuning in. This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown. We not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they bout to stampede.
Yo, everyone, and welcome to the Texans Fan Battle Podcast. I'm your host again, Matthew Briggs, and always with me, I got my amazing trio. First up, my A1 since day one, Mr. Crimsaw.
What's up, everybody? What's going on?
And our older brother, but little brother, we got Mr. VT himself.
What up, what up, what up?
And guys, we got a special guest. If you watch Locked On Texans, if you watch anything Texans related, you know this guy. Even Rockets, we got Mr. Coty Davis. What's going on, man?
What's up, y'all? Thank y'all for having me so much, man. It's an honor and privilege to be on this podcast. Of course, I'm familiar with y'all. Love the work y'all do. Love the intro, by the way. You know,
that's
especially
BT, man. BT's bomb, man.
Love the intro. Love the song. I just have one little request on the intro when y'all say make all the other podcasts quick. Say except for Locked On Texans.
We gotta add the caption right there.
Yeah, add some kind of caption or something. But thank y'all so much for having me, man.
Before we kick off, man, I want to say about two months ago, your co-host John Hickman revealed live that he was having a baby. I want to get it from your aspect. How was that when he first broke it to you? What was your thoughts like?
Honestly,
were you expecting it?
No, I wasn't. He kept that under wraps, man. And for those of you guys who've seen that episode, especially on YouTube, that was my live reaction. Like, I didn't even know his wife Shaq was pregnant. Like, I didn't know I didn't know nothing. I knew nothing about it. And when he said, "I'm here to make the announcement," and he showed the picture, man, I was just like, I was stunned. I didn't know, but that's my boy, man. I told him if there's anything that they need, I'm definitely there for him.
Yeah, he's a good guy. We have him on the show. He's was a great episode, but hopefully this is gonna be a better one, right? Because you're on it. Right?
hopefully that's gonna be something me and John gonna have to debate. So we'll let the listeners and the viewers decide that.
There you go. Well, let's kick off with some NFL news. Well, first off, we got some head coaching drama. Sean Payton versus Nathaniel Hackett. The versus of head coaching. John, John. Coty, I'll start off with you. What do you think of all this mess?
I get it from the standpoint of respecting one coach to another. You guys know, whether it's a coach, player, podcasters, reporters like us, there's a code that we have to follow, even though you might not agree with somebody or like someone, at the end of the day, because we're all in this community, you got to respect them to a certain extent. And if you got to criticize them, you try to do it in a respectful way. However, look, get mad at me all you want. I agree with Sean Payton. Like, Nathaniel Hackett, to me, is a terrible coach. And he showed that in the one season he was with the Denver Broncos. And look, I understand what he said. Like I mentioned, he should have did it just a little bit more respectfully. But Nathaniel Hackett, to me, whether a coach, rather offensive coordinator, he has always been just a tad bit overrated. I get the job that he did in Jacksonville that he get a lot of credit for. I believe that was in 2017, 2018, when he helped the Jacksonville Jaguars get to the AFC Championship game. Blake Bortles looked really good. That offense looked decent. However, a lot of people fail to realize the majority of Jacksonville's success that year was due to the fact that they had arguably, if not the best defensive team. And you saw once that defense disintegrated that offseason, what did Jacksonville do? And I understand and respect the job that he did in Green Bay. However, Aaron Rodgers, whether you put him in the top 5, top 10, top 15, you're looking at an all-time great quarterback. So you separate that. Look at what he did in Denver. Everybody was expecting big things for Denver. I know I did, and I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not going to say I'm a Russell Wilson fan, but I do root for Russell Wilson, and he has been one of the quarterbacks that I've enjoyed watching over the past decade. And I was extremely disappointed. And I know Russell Wilson, had his issues. Of course, you guys know Denver also had injuries and everything. But what Nathaniel Hackett did, especially against the Houston Texans, week 2, well, it took it was like a slugfest. It was boring. And what was the final score? Was it like 13-6 or something like that?
Yeah, I think 13-6.
And that was week 2. I knew from that moment that Denver was not going to live up to the expectations. And I knew majority of that was due to Nathaniel Hackett. And you guys might remember, but there was a call, I believe, in the first half where everybody, including us, was like, what is Nathaniel Hackett doing?
No, the whole game, it was just called weird to me. Like, I agree with you. It's like, what? Okay. Yeah, and he also had like the worst game ever in Thursday night football history against who was it? The Colts?
The Rams.
9-6. Was it the Rams? I thought it was the Colts, but it was just awful. BT, there's some reports that Lazard said that he is making them do animal noises to help memorizing the plays. So what's your opinion on all this, BT?
I mean, the thing is that I think most people understand that Nathaniel Hackett was a failure in Denver, but why would Sean Payton go out of his way to basically tell him how bad he was? Like, to me, what purpose does that serve? You could always tell that internally to your team to say, hey, we're turning a new leaf. You had horrible management, you had horrible coaching. This isn't going to be like that. But to actually say that publicly doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think that obviously Aaron Rodgers, you heard his response saying that he broke the coach's code. I gotta agree with Aaron here. Like, what is the point of doing that with Sean Payton? And yes, we will see how well he actually can make Russell Wilson perform. But we're getting reports that he's had 5 interceptions so far in camp. Yes, I know it's training camp, and I understand not to overreact, but 5 interceptions so far for someone that you consider to be a top tier quarterback, and Sean Payton is supposed to fix him. We'll see what happens. Right now, I'm not expecting anything huge from them this season.
All right, Kershaw, let's get spicy with it. What's your opinion on it?
I mean, Sean Payton kept it 100. That's something I wish D'Amico would have said about Lovey, because Lovey was bad last year. So he just kept it 100. It's kind of like a friend. You got a homie. You don't want to tell them the truth, but sometimes you got to tell them the truth. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying, even if it's gonna hurt their feelings or not. And like I said, I know it's a coach's code, but it is what it is. Sean Payton, he's a Super Bowl champion winning coach. He can say those type of things. So I didn't see a problem with it. I'm with Coty on this one.
I would have to say I can see why. I'm not saying it was right or wrong, but I can see why he said it. Because like you said, BT, Russell Wilson's having bad camp. Everything is just revolving around negativity. So what is Peyton going to do? He's going to spin drama. So that's taking off. Look this way. Why this is looking bad? So right. I think that's why. Just kind of hide, Band-Aid it. But we all know Band-Aids don't really work very well in the NFL. Texans really bad. So
don't they play each other this year?
Yeah, they do. I believe week 5 or 6.
October 2nd.
Okay, well that is right there. That's how you come back on Nathaniel right there. That game right there.
Oh no! The Jets. I think you're talking about us playing the Broncos. Yeah. I don't know what day, but yeah, I think they do play each other. Speaking of more drama, let's go to Indianapolis. Jonathan Taylor requests a trade. VT, I kick it off with you. Who's right? Irsay, JT, or nobody?
Nobody. I mean, I think Jonathan Taylor has to realize that the running back market has collapsed. You had Saquon Barkley, who when you talk about percentage of offense led all running backs in just in terms of percentage of that. And now you have him requesting $16 million. I mean, there's no way in hell he can actually really believe he can get that. If Saquon Barkley is getting 11, which 900,000 of that is just incentives, so it's really 10 million. How is he going to get 16? Dalvin Cook, who's a perennial 1,000-yard receiver, is struggling to find a job. Zeke is still out there. Kareem Hunt is still out there. The Colts could pick up one of these free agents and not spend $16 million. And then the other issue is that it's not just the money, but he wants a 3-year deal from the reports that we're reading. So he wants to get guaranteed money for 3 years. And we've seen what happens when we give big money contracts to running backs. You get hurt like CMC or Zeke or Todd Gurley. And so he has to understand that the market is what the market is. Now, on the other side, why is Jim Irsay saying that if he and Jonathan Taylor were not in the league or Jim Irsay died, that no one's going to care? Like, he's just escalating it. His agent, who, by the way, is also the agent for Titus Howard, isn't helping either. The public issue, honestly, is the problem here. You're always going to have these type of negotiation strategies, but the way that Jim Irsay has made it public, the way that his agent has made it public, just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Like, why do you need that drama? Keep it in house. Almost shut the hell up a little bit.
Yeah, Chris, I'll kick it off to you. What was that you?
Jim Irsay, he must be kin of Donald Trump because he just say what the fuck he want to say. You know what I'm saying? He just say whatever. I mean, it's sad because the running back market just turned to shit. Jonathan Taylor's an incredible running back. I wish he could get his money, but I'm not mad because that's a division rival right there. He should just take whatever they give him. If not, he's just going to be looking for a team. He's going to Le'Veon Bell himself. And I mean, he's going to play again, but he's not going to get the contract that he really, really wants. So I think he should just take what they give him and call it a day. And hopefully in the new CBA, they could work something out for the running backs. Give them shorter deals so they could be free agents sooner than later.
Yeah, I agree. Cody, speak to me, man. What do you think about this?
I'm going to keep this one short because both Crenshaw and VT, they did a phenomenal job talking about this issue. And I agree with both of them. As for Jonathan Taylor, look, I guess for the Houston Texans' sake, yeah, trade him. Get him out the division. That's a running back that's been killing them over the last couple of years.
Send him to the NFC.
Yeah, send him to the NFC. Send him somewhere, just not in this division. But, as VT said, look, he deserved his money, and I'm all about players getting their money. However, it's one of those situations where he has to be realistic and think to himself, look what happened in New York with Saquon Barkley. Not only that, if I'm a team that's trying to improve my backfield, do I want to lose tradable assets in order to get him, or all I could do is just call up Dalvin Cooks, who's looking for a job right now, and say, hey, would you like to come play for me for X amount of money for a 1-year prove-it deal, and we'll see what happens in the future. So Jonathan Taylor's in a lose-lose situation, and Jim Irsay, exactly, like that whole franchise hasn't been the same since what's my boy name, old quarterback that retired out of nowhere. He was supposed to take over for Peyton Manning. Andrew Luck. That organization ownership hasn't been the same since Andrew Luck retired on him out of nowhere.
Yeah, I see. I get what y'all are saying about the whole Barkley, situation, but there's a difference between Barkley and Taylor. Taylor's 25, 26. Barkley's a lot older. But here's the thing about Taylor too. Taylor is the prototype of what you want in the running back in this era. Barkley's not. He's an okay pass catcher, but Taylor is top elite. You move him to receiver, he's very good catch out of the backfield. Like I said, he was very elite the year before last before he got hurt. So that's what you want. And Derrick Henry's making $12 million. Before he got hurt, they were both, right there, who the better running back in the division was. So, $4 million more for 25. It is a little bit risky, but again, if you want the development of Anthony Richardson, you got to have somebody who can catch the ball. Dalvin Cook, I agree. Yeah, Dalvin Cook can catch the ball. He's one of those guys. But Kareem Hunt and Zeke, I just don't think that's the answer. But to go Cook, yeah, I agree to that. But yeah, that's my opinion on it, in my view. But
I just want to say
I've been
one
wrong
thing about
before.
Barkley real quick, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he led the whole team in targets for receiving. So I mean, he was a major piece of the offense, not just on the ground, but through the air. So I don't think that you can just say that Taylor, is just another beast compared to Barkley. And I agree that, Taylor's a bit younger, and he's obviously, led the league in rushing yards when he's healthy. And so should he get something? Sure. But I do think that Barkley is kind of the standard when you talk about last year. And what is the NFL is right about now? What have you done for me lately? And last year, Barkley had a kick-ass year. And if
But if you're talking elite, he wasn't the elite, right? You had to go with Josh Jacobs, who also is wanting more money. I mean, so that's the guy who used to be, going off the market for is Josh Jacobs. The dude he led the league in rushing 2 years now, 3 years. So that's the guy you gotta have to kind of eye for when it comes to, what you want to pay running back. So I don't know. Like Crenshaw said, you're just gonna have to get a whole CBA and kind of mark around there because nothing's gonna fix it. The bad thing about all running backs is the one of the easiest position to replace. Like you can get a guy at the 5th round, 6th round. I mean, look at Dameon Pierce, 4th round, and he's just a baller. So the systems are okay. Andy Reid, he makes running backs great. I mean, Pacheco, I mean, he was a good running back last year. So is this a bad thing for the running backs? Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So, but screw all those running backs in the other divisions because now we are talking about why we're here. And that is the Texans.
You ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 stick, you can get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride.
All right, let's start off with some hurt, man. The entire Texans tight end group is hurt. Cody, I know you kind of been there a little bit at training camp. Talk to me about it, man. Is it something we could be concerned about or this too shall pass?
Yeah, it's somewhat of a concerning moment for the Houston Texans because, the one thing I would say, more so when Dalton Schultz is in or was in before he got hurt on Sunday, that offense becomes efficient. But if he isn't in, then your next issue is going to be, okay, who's going to step up and be this team's number 2 tight end? That's something that myself and John has talked a lot about on Locked On Texans over the last couple of weeks, because going into training camp, it was like, okay, Tegan Quatoriano, rookie season, missed half of it due to injuries. After he got healthy, spent some time, as a healthy scratch, getting accustomed to the playbook. But after he made his NFL debut in that Thursday night loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, you saw it from the very first moment, okay, he can actually be something for this team. And then you got Brevin Jordan, who has been the definition of inconsistent throughout his whole entire career. Now, some of it is his fault because going into the draft, I believe it was in 2021, his biggest issue was blocking. Everybody said he was really good as a receiving tight end, but blocking has been his number one issue. Well, we are 3 years removed from the day he got drafted, and he is still a pretty good receiving tight end, but his main issue is still blocking. So it's like for the battle at tight end number 2, it's like, okay, it's going to come down between those two guys. But tomorrow marks day 7 of training camp, and either Dalton Schultz, not sure if he's going to be able to come back. Tegan Quatoriano has not been in training camp due to injuries, and Brevin Jordan, I believe on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, he went down with it. He's dealing with a hamstring injury, and he has missed the last 2-3 practices. So it's like, if those are your primary 3 tight ends, that's part of the reason why over the last 24 hours we saw Nick Caserio go out and sign not 1 but 2 tight ends to add some bodies to this position group. Because as I mentioned, this offense, when things are clicking with Dalton Schultz, when Brevin Jordan, as we saw on Sunday, when he is actually having a really good day at practice and he's out there catching balls and trying to give you something in the blocking game or whatever, this offense looks a little bit more efficient. However, if the tight ends are not there, i.e. Dalton Schultz, then you're going to have an issue. And that's when you start seeing reports on how bad CJ Stroud looked doing this 11-on-11 drills, how inconsistent did Davis Mills look through the 11-on-11 drills. Because the one thing you got to keep in mind, this offense, I think the biggest issue right now is the fact that they do not have a number one wide receiver. And that is part of the reason why this team is going to depend heavily on the tight end core, especially considering that this is still going to be a run heavy offense. With you take a look at what Bobby Slowik had in San Francisco. Of course, he's going to translate that here in the city of Houston. And then let's be honest, still to this day, arguably your best offensive weapon is still Dameon Pierce. And now you add Devin Singletary as well. So that tight end core is really going to be important for the Texans in 2023. And knowing that all three of your tight ends, or who you project to be your top three tight ends, are hurt right now is concerning for a moment.
All right. Well, we did re-sign Thomason, worked out Nick Bennett and James. I'm not going to try that. And Dalton Keene.
Shaughnessy.
Yeah, there you go. BT, what do you expect out of this tight end group? You think it'll be all right?
So, I think that Dalton Schultz is going to lead the tight end group. I understand that his injury is nothing major, so it's not like he's not going to play the season or anything. But the issue occurs if he goes down during the season. What happens? And that's something that's concerning. So for the most part, honestly, I think most Texans fans didn't believe that Brevin Jordan was even going to make the team, but he's been doing well in camp, and he may literally make the team now. Not just because of what his performance has been, although it has been good. From what I read, it's he hasn't really had any drops the way he's been having drops in previous years. And the other thing is depth. We need depth. So he may be there just because we don't really have much depth. The guy that we signed, we've had him before. He's really, I hate to say it, a nothing burger. So I'm not really putting in a lot of faith on some of the tight ends that we recently signed. Sure, we worked out a couple dudes. We signed a couple dudes. We're gonna have to get Brevin Jordan in there. And I think that TQ, his issue is health. And only health. When he played last year against the Eagles, that was his first game. He scored a touchdown on the first drive, and that was the first time the Texans actually scored on their first drive of the game. The dude can actually play ball. The dude can block. I was really happy when we signed him, but the issue has been his knees. And if he can't stay healthy, you're no good to a team if you can't be on the field. And I think that's the issue. So I think at the end of the day, what this does is make Brevin Jordan earn a roster spot on this team. And that's what's going to happen with the tight end group. And I just hope that Dalton Schultz can actually stay healthy, which brings me to a question that I actually have for Cody. Do you think because of how important he's going to be in the receiving game, do you think that Slowik and D'Amico back off on some of the blocking that he has to perform?
Hopefully, because the one thing, I like that question, by the way, because the one thing that gets me excited about this new coaching staff, when you more so Bobby Slowik, it seems like that they're going to try to put their players in the best position that is suitable to their best attribute. And as I just mentioned, over the last 3 years, going back to his days in Miami, Brevin Jordan is known to be a receiving tight end. However, when you consider the fact that there has been moments, whether it was with Pep Hamilton or whether it was with Tim Kelly, they putting him in these positions where he's required to block. It's like, why are you putting your player in that position when you know he isn't? That's not what he's good at. So not only are you failing him, but you're also failing the team as well, because if you're putting them in a bad situation, clearly that's going to be a waste of a down. A waste of a down is going to be a waste of a drive. A waste of a drive is going to end up like we saw in the first half against the Washington Commanders when you're down, what was it, 21-0, and we halfway through the second quarter and it's unwatchable football. So but that's one thing I will say about Coach D'Amico Ryans and offensive coordinator Bobby Slowik. They are willing to, and look, of course, you want to see a guy like Brevin Jordan. I'm extremely high on Jordan. I've really been following his career ever since he got here. And I think if he does make this 53-man roster, and not only does he make it, but he is a very, he is a reliable tight end that you are literally dependent on. Yes, you want to see him make those improvements, but having a coaching staff that's like, okay, I want to work this around your best attribute. I think that's also going to benefit his career as well. And we won't have these conversations going into the season saying, man, Brevin Jordan is a really good tight end, but why are we talking about whether or not he's going to make the 53-man roster or whatever the case might be?
Yeah. I mean, hopefully they actually figured that part out. The only question then is they brought him there to block, right? So, like, who takes that role? I mean, I guess Noah Brown can block, right? Robert Woods can block, but again, I don't know if that's going to be their bigger role. But I just hope they use Dalton Schultz more as a receiving tight end, because if not, I think you're going to lose out a lot on a receiving weapon, especially when, like, as you mentioned, none of them so far have stood out as a number one, and he's going to be the main dump-off option, especially on third downs.
Oh, well, guys, if you haven't noticed, we have a special guest in the building. We have former Texan Amobi Okoye. What's up, man?
What's going on, y'all? Glad to be back on, and it's been crazy, but I'm glad to be back on, man.
All right, so you were there at Legends Day Sunday training camp. Are you liking what you see, Amobi?
I'm definitely. I mean, well, we are talking about practice. Talking about practice.
talking practice.
Practice.
I like what I saw so far. I like what I saw. I think they look very fast to me. I think we need to bulk up a little bit on size, but the speed is there.
All right. Cody, what have you liked so far at training camp with the whole new training camp news?
The defense. My God, this defense. Lord have mercy, this defense. Look, and I understand, look, it's training camp. And this is why
it's DeMeco Ryan, so it's going to be defense going to be good. So
exactly. Look, and this is why I hate training camp, because it's like the defense, like tomorrow marks day 7. Out of the first 6 days, the defense has been the standout at least 5 out of the first 6 days. And it's like, is the defense really that good, or does the offense have a lot that they need to figure out? And I think it's the first thing that I said. This defense is going to be really that good, because first and foremost, I want to go back to what V asked me, and I talked about how this coaching staff is actually going to put their players in their best attribute. They're going to put them in positions where they can succeed. And that is what we have first seen out of this defense in terms of what DeMeco Ryans is installing, i.e. everybody's favorite thing to talk about is Derek Stingley Jr. We know Derek Stingley Jr. is really good as a one-on-one corner. He's good at making plays on the ball. And we know last year, part of the issues that he had was playing in Lovie Smith's system. It was zone. And, you know, there was moments where you saw where he wanted to play one-on-one, but it's like, can't really go that way because I need to stay in and cover my area, whatever the case might be. We haven't seen that in training camp. Like, Derek Stingley Jr. has been one of the defensive ends. As a matter of fact, the whole entire secondary, they go out there and make plays on the ball, and that is part of Coach DeMeco Ryan's system. And I love the fact that he has put a hefty emphasis on takeaways, and that excited me because I was like, okay, at best over the last 2 years, this defense has been subpar, and they still rank towards the top half of takeaways. I believe they have like 50 to 53 over the last 2 seasons. 6 days into training camp, they already got 8, and Steven Nelson has 3 by himself, 3 interceptions. So knowing that, looking at how the changes that Coach DeMeco Ryans has made to that defensive front, looking at how the fact that this is going to be a defense that's going to improve at stopping the run, like every time they go 11 on 11, team situations, whatever the case might be, this defense there's no way you can watch training camp practices and don't get excited for the defense being coached by DeMeco Ryans.
I agree. I totally agree. They looked outstanding on Sunday when I watched them, and I just have this feeling that come mid trade deadline, Hopkins is going to come to us.
What?
D-Hop? Like,
yeah.
As in DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah, yes. I have.
As in the guy they could have signed a couple weeks back?
I just have this feeling it's not going to work out in Tennessee the first half of the season. By trade deadline, he's going to come to the Texans.
Is it something you know that we don't know, Amobi? Are you talking to him? Can you break some
For
news
real,
for us?
like you need him on the show so we can break the news. Like,
Nah, I honestly I dreamt it.
I mean, it sounds like a dream.
But it can happen though, because I really don't see it working out for him in Tennessee. Like, so he might as well go and come on back over here and finish it up where it started.
I'm past the DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, I hope the best for his career, but I hope it's not with the Texans. But who knows? We've seen crazier things, Chris, you were there Sunday too. What do you think of Will Anderson? Everything I've heard and seen, the dude is going to be a beast. What do you think?
He's as advertised. I guess he could be our Michael Parsons, man. He's always in the backfield. Like Coach say, when they tell him to take a playoff, he gets upset. I can't wait to see him in preseason. I don't know how much you go play in preseason, but I just can't wait to see him in preseason, man. He's going to be worth the trade up. How everybody was disappointed about the trade up. Well, not everybody, but most of the people was. He's as advertised. I like what I see in him. I don't know if he's going to keep that number 51. That's the only thing I don't know about right there.
All right. BT, I know you are anti-Christian Kirksey. I've seen a lot of I'm gonna murder his name, Henry Tutua. I heard he is, like Chris all said, he's always in the backfield too, especially on the run plays. Do you think he might share some of the Mike experience with Perryman, or does Christian Kirksey keep that job?
I mean, I think that Perryman takes the mic. I think that they're going to probably place Toa at Sam. That makes the most sense. Christian Harris basically has played, from what I've read and the videos that I've seen, Christian Harris is staying at that weak side. It looks like he's staying there at the ones no matter what. So I think Christian Kirksey kind of does play snaps here and there. I don't think he's a starter at the mic position. I think that's Perryman as long as he's healthy. And I think that, will they try to move in Toa next year at the mic position? Possibly, but right now I think that's Perryman's job. I'll just comment on Anderson right now, which is I think he's going to be that game record. And I agree with Crenshaw that even if it's not this year, that eventually we will realize as a fan base that it was worth the trade up. Yeah, we gave, people can say we gave up our future for him, but I think it was well worth it. What we're seeing in camp right now is that he is getting through there. He's been able to have, I think at this point, more than 5 or 6 would-be sacks, just in the past couple of days of camp. So, if this guy produces just even in the half of the level that they're thinking, we are going to be able to win games because he's going to bring the ball back to the offense. So I'm really, really happy with that. I actually have a question to Cody and the rest of the group, or anyone that's seen it. So right now we've seen a lot of predictions for the secondary. I say it's top 5. I say we actually have a top 5 secondary. Some people are saying top 10. We didn't lose anyone of importance last year, and we added Jimmy Ward. And I think that some of the reasons why CJ Stroud and even Davis Mills haven't had as great offenses is because we have such a great secondary. So my question to the entire group is, do you think that we are top 5 secondary? Am I overrating our secondary, or are we really that? Because you know how high I am on Jalen Petrie. Wrong hand. There we go. Jalen Petrie. I thought he was. I thought he should have had an All-Pro year last year, and I damn well sure think that he's going to have one this year. So what are your thoughts on the secondary, guys?
I think it's top 12 right now. Could it be top 5? Possibly, but it all depends on the rest of the team, because that can always bring down the stats and whatnot. But I right now I got top 12. Cody, what do you got?
I don't know about top 5, but I definitely got them top 10. Going into this season, looking at what I've seen in practice, knowing what I know about Jalen Petrie, VT, I agree with you, and I do believe if the Houston Texans probably would have won let's say 6 games, he probably would have been all pro. I don't see how you look at the development of Jalen Petrie, of course, the health and the development of Derek Stingley Jr., along with the veteran leadership and veteran experience of a Jimmy Ward and a Steven Nelson. You're not going to find too many secondaries, too many defenses that's going to be better than what the Houston Texans have to offer.
And I also think Desmond King don't get the love he deserves in the slot.
WeAreTexans
position.
too.
Yeah, in the slot position, they are shut down when it comes to that. But I mean, it's kind of hard when you got people like Petrie and Ward. Go ahead, Moby. What you got?
Yeah, I just think that of course, with D'Amico, the defense is going to be spectacular, and I see Will Anderson playing the role kind of like Michael Parsons, and just making plays all over, which will in turn help the secondary out. So that's what I see for sure.
That's what we can hope, right? That can make him a top 5 if the edge can force the quarterback to throw the ball sooner, and we get more deflections, more interceptions. BT's right? I mean, that's going to be top 5. Crenshaw, what do you think?
I say top 8, and eventually could be a top 5 because of Steven Nelson. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, here's a question to Coty and Okoye, since Cody's been in camp and Okoye used to be a defensive tackle. I've heard Lopez is looking like a beast out there. What do y'all think? He got a lot bigger or what?
Okoye,
what was the question?
Roy Lopez, is he looking like a beast out there, or what do you think?
He's taking some strides for sure. His game has gotten better every year for a fact, because he where's what the number I was, so I get to watch him more. Yeah, so I think he's gotten better for sure.
And I agree 100% with him. The one thing I did notice about Roy Lopez, his body, his size, he looked a little bit more slimmer, but in a good way, and that has allowed him to be able to move around even better on that defensive front. And I think it was Sheldon Rankins. Sheldon Rankins started off training camp on the PUP list, and Roy Lopez was getting rushed with the first team, and he looked really good. And the one thing, of course, when I'm looking at the interior defensive line, I'm looking at how well, what are the improvements that they made at stopping the run. And there were several moments where he was able to get into the backfield and create some havoc. And look, at first, I wasn't too high on Roy Lopez going into this season, but I think when you take a look at guys like Roy Lopez, or Nico Collins, or Brevin Jordan, a Garrett Wallow, I think these guys are going to benefit from a coaching staff that also brings some consistency and stability into that locker room. Because when you look at the last 2 seasons, it's like there was moments where guys, the culture, there was moments where guys like Roy Lopez had showed promise and potential, but given everything that was going on, just with the question about coaching staff alone, I don't think these guys ever got the opportunity to really learn and develop on the NFL stage. I was talking to somebody, I can't remember who it was, who had an opportunity to cover D'Amico Ryans in San Francisco, and they say one of the things that they love about D'Amico is the fact that he is one of the best DC coaches that they ever been around. And when I asked them, what you mean? I thought defensive coordinator. They say, no, a development coach. And that is something that a lot of these guys like Roy Lopez need. And look, 6 days into training camp, you can see the time and the effort that he has put in, individually getting his body in shape, and just learning from D'Amico and Matt Burke and them is really starting to show.
Yeah,
I also think that
go ahead.
No, I was about to say, I think that Jerry Hughes is going to really help with developing Will. There's that veteran leadership is going to be huge.
That's something Will Anderson actually talked about. He said he's been picking the brains of Jerry and Jonathan Grenard a lot.
Well, guys, we know Cody don't have much longer, so we're going to jump to our last segment, and that is It's not really a hot take, but we'll call it a hot take. We're going to do predictions. Cody, we're going to start with our first two guests. We're going to start with Cody first. What do you think the season predictions for the Texans will be?
Oh Lord! In terms of wins, in terms of starts,
wins,
oh God,
wins and accolades. What do you think?
I hate doing this so much. I can see the Texans winning. They won a total of 7 the last 2 years in a random tie. That still doesn't make sense. I think in terms of wins, I got this team winning somewhere in the ballpark between. I got them winning 6 games. 6 games, but to me, 1, this team is definitely going to go out there and compete. 2, they're going to be watchable. 3, they're going to be better overall. I know some people got them winning the division and all that other stuff. I think in order for them to win 6 games, it truly depends on the development of these young guys. Because one thing about the Texans going into this season, they have the talent, but a lot of their talent is still young. So I say 6 wins, and that's where I'm going to keep it as of right now.
All right. Well, our other guest, Amobi, what do you think? Where you got us at?
Well, for one, in my opinion, the division is kind of wide open. I mean, the Jacksonville won it last year and all, but I still don't. Sunshine is a heck of a quarterback, but I don't still see them as more of a complete team than we are. I definitely see us going above 500.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. I really see that. So I don't want to, get my hopes too high, but anything above 500 for sure, I see us doing that.
All right. Well, Crenshaw, looks like Amobi's eating your Flamin' Hot Cheetos, keeping it spicy around here. What do you think, Crenshaw? What you got your predictions?
I think the team's gonna start off slow, but pick up at the end. So I'm gonna keep it at 7 and 10, but I won't be mad at 89.
All right.
Oh, and while we at it, Cody, what's gonna be the Saints record?
Oh man!
Hey, for those of you who don't know, I cover the Houston Texans, but I'm from New Orleans, originally from New Orleans. So of course, the Saints, that's my team. I've been in Houston for over 20 years, always rooting for the Texans. But as for the Saints record, man, I got there for fun, I'm gonna say 16-1 or something like that. We all we needed was a quarterback. We got our quarterback, Michael Thomas back. So hey, I was 16-1. We about to win that
one loss
chip.
is against the Texans, huh?
You know what? I'll take that. That one loss is against the Texans.
BT, what about you, bub?
I think we're a 7-10 team, and I have to say the reasons why is. First of all, we're a much better team than last year, but one of the things that we are going to have to worry about is just rookies. We had the most amount of rookie snaps last year, and I see that happening again this year. And we have rookies on the coaching side, offensive coordinator, head coach, etc. So we have a lot of rookies, not just on the field, but off the field as well. So I think that, Coach Slow is going to have to make changes in his playbook, and also this is the first time that we'll have this line together. We just had Deeps on a different segment, which, by the way, catch us tomorrow. Tomorrow will be published on YouTube, so subscribe to the YouTube channel. But we had Deeps on, and she said that we could potentially have Scott Quesenberry starting. And so, one of the things I think we're going to have is we might have some beginning issues with our linemen in the beginning until they all jive, depending on who wins out the job and stuff. And Scuggs may not be out there week 1. So I think that, if you talk about some of the issues that we may have with the linemen, some of the issues that we have with health at the tight end position, some of the issues with not having a true wide receiver 1, that doesn't mean that we're not going to win games, but I think 7 is realistic. I will say, though, as far as a hot take is concerned, we're sweeping the Titans. They ain't winning against us this year.
No, that's definitely not happening.
Agreed. I'm going to say 6 and 11 is our floor, and our ceiling is about, I'll say, a 9 and 8. If the year to surprise people was going to be this year, the NFC South, other than the Saints, are pretty weak. And, of course, the AFC South, you never know what you're going to get out of them. The Jaguars could Jaguar ball apart. The Titans, I agree with BT. The offensive line, the shambles, and Ryan Tannehill ain't him at all. The drama in Indy, you just don't know what's going to happen there. So if you're going to make surprises, this is the chance. So I'm here for it, but 6-11 is my next year is the year we take a step. So, well, Coty Amobi, thank you guys for coming on. I started off with Amobi. Tell us where we can find you on social media and what you got going on.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm on Instagram and Facebook, just Amobi Okoye 91. And then my foundation, the Amobi Okoye Foundation. As a matter of fact, this coming Saturday, I got a camp going out here in Katy and La Centera. So check out the website, AmobiOkoyeFoundation.com, and also on Instagram and on Facebook, and get more information about it. Bring the kids to come out this early Saturday morning, get them away from damn Fortnites and iPads, and exercising for it. It's part of the NFL Play 60. So get them out there to come out there and exercise for 60 minutes, and I will put them to work.
Oh, all right. You got it. Coty, what about you? Where do we find you?
You can follow me on, I guess we call it X now. I don't know, X and Thread. I'm throwing
I'm
Thread
with
in
you.
there as well. I'm throwing Thread in there as well. I don't know, whatever, the app that used to have the bird. Now I got this questionable app X, and I'm like scared to open my phone sometimes because I don't want my wife thinking something else on my phone. I don't know. But that app and Thread, Instagram, you can follow me on Twitter at Coty Davis _24. Once again, that's Coty COTY DAVIS _24. All
right. And VT, what about you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. I'm not going to call it X. It's always going to be Twitter for the rest of eternity. You can follow me on Twitter at Brown Chubby Bear. I'm on Threads as well, Brown Chubby Bear. And if you are watching this on Facebook or if you're watching this on Twitter, follow us on YouTube because, like I said, we're putting out content there. And we're going to have deeps on tomorrow. That interview will be published. So check that out. You can find my articles at fanbattlesports.com. And a shout out to Bo. Bo, if you put your TikTok right now, I'll give you a shout out. I don't remember your TikTok off the top of my head. But if you guys aren't following his TikTok, you got it. He's hilarious.
All right. And Crenshaw.
You can find me at Fifth Ward Crenshaw everywhere. You can find X, Twitter, Instagram, all that.
OnlyFans everywhere.
OnlyFans, everything.
You got it. Guys, you can find this amazing show everywhere, but also on the Fan Battle Network. There's his TikTok username if you're interested in some funny content. But you can find us on the Fan Battle Network, where you can find some great shows. The YouTube is also, if you subscribe to the YouTube, you have a chance to win a jersey of your choice. So if you want an Amobi Okoye jersey, all you got to do is subscribe to the Fan Battle Network, and you have a chance to win it. You can find me at A1 Day 1 Texans and the podcast Texans Fan Battle everywhere, Thread, whatever app there is, we're on it. So
can I say one more? More thing. Yeah. Also, Saturday, this the new the dugout in Katy. It's like Top Golf of baseball. Everybody needs to check it out. It just opened up this year. I partnered with them, and Saturday as well. I'm after the camp throughout the day. Whenever you come out there and support the foundation, they'll help support the foundation with proceeds going to the foundation. It's the dugout out in Katy. I tell people what it is. It's baseball. It's Top Golf of baseball. So if you haven't checked it out yet,
it's pretty sweet.
Come check it out. It's pretty dope. It's just simulated just like Top Golf, but the baseball aspect of it. So yeah.
All right, guys.
Let me just give that shout out to Bo. It's Bo Diggity 713. It's hilarious. Just if you yes, subscribe to our TikTok, but also subscribe to his. He's hilarious.
All right, guys. Well, again, thank you for coming on, and we will see y'all again, and we'll see everybody else next week.
Go Texans.
This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown. We not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out